What's up, everybody? So in the last video I showed you my new wheels and tires, 37s for my 2014 Dodge, and now I want to show you what I need to do to trim the fender wells to make these things fit. I am getting a pretty significant amount of rubbing the way it sits now, and so I'll show you how much I need to trim to make that work. So I have the tire turned about where it makes the most contact, and this actually looks a little worse than it probably started, because when you go in reverse, these lugs catch this and kind of pull down on this, and it's actually pulled the trim out a little more on this fender flare. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it about right straight down there, and then up in here. I think that this will make contact here if it's ever kind of tucked a little bit. So I'm going to trim across here a bit as well. So let me get this tire repositioned so I can have a little more room to work and set this up, and I'll make those cuts. All right, I'm going to try to do this. The wheel and tire still on the truck because I'm a little lazy. Although I will tell you, that reminds me of a saying I heard recently. I don't really know where to attribute it to, so sorry if I'm robbing someone's glory, but basically something to the effect of the shortcut is always the longest route. So hopefully that isn't this right now. So I taped off where I want to cut. I'm just going to cut this little lip off right here, and then in here you probably can't see, and then kind of across here in a straight line. What I'm going to try to do, make it a little easier, I've got a razor blade and I have one of these propane torches. I'm just going to heat up the razor blade a little bit so that hopefully it cuts through really fast and easy. The only, I guess, issue is that I have a plastic knife here. So the key is to get the razor blade hot enough to help me cut through this. Oh yeah, that's nice. Without melting the knife itself. So let's see how this goes. This actually works really well. Just dip it in the fire for a minute and then cut. You just want to be careful you don't go too deep. Behind some of these panels, I think there's maybe some wiring. We'll see. Okay. So I got that piece off. Part of the fender flare here, and that's where most of the rubbing's occurring, but you can tell that it's going to rub here too. So I'm going to go straight across there, get the rest of this taken off. Start this and turn it the other way. I think it'll work a lot better. Give me a little more room. All right, that'll give me a little more room to work with, I think. Hopefully you can still see. Okay, here you go. I think that's the finished product. You can now see this exposed pinch weld here. You'll sometimes see with more offset tires, I guess less offset, less positive offset, you will see where some people have to come in here and actually trim this pinch weld. I don't think I'm gonna have to do that, although it does stick out a bit there. I think I'll still be safe. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna wash that up a little bit, and then I'm gonna paint it like a flat black, and you'll probably never notice it was trimmed. All right, I had some of this Herculiner left over from another project I was working on. It seemed like it might be kind of a good match for something like that, sort of textured. It's an area that takes a lot of hit from rocks and stuff like that, so I just blasted it real quick. Already had my tape lines on there from where I taped it off to cut, so just use those. Now I'll take this tape off, and I don't think you'll really be able to tell it was messed with. I'm sure the astute observer could figure it out, but let's face it, not a lot of people are that astute. There we go. Looks pretty good. I'll do the other side. Probably won't film that, no need to, but after I do that, I'll take it for a drive and make sure there's no rubbing. So I will show you this one thing over on this side. You can see the other side in here had kind of like a pop out right about here, where this was flush straight across, and it made a sort of a natural line to cut right here. This doesn't. This has this area right here is popped out, but then back here it's all flat and flush, so I don't have that same reference point. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to measure basically up from the bottom of this fender flare, find my spot here, draw a line, and cut this little piece out that's sticking out here. I don't need to worry about this bulged out spot in the middle, and because I don't have that as a reference line, I just want them to match. Okay, I measured it up. It's right about 6 inches from the bottom of this to here, so that'll be my cut line. That way it'll match the other side. I'll cut this protrusion out and this little kick out here on the fender flare, and we should be set. I'll paint it up just like the other side. Okay, so it's about a week later. I realized I didn't do a follow-up video for the test drive after I drove it to make sure it wasn't rubbing, and so I've been driving it for about a week and a half now, and it's been driving just fine, no rubbing. So this was a success. You may need to trim a little more or less if you have different wheels and tires on there, different offsets, I think specifically, or maybe a different brand of tire might need a little bit different trimming on it, but you get the general idea. I think the key point as you're doing this is really take your time, heat up that razor blade. That really made a huge difference. Managed to get some really nice clean cuts, without the kind of risk of cutting unintentionally if you're trying to force it. So sharp blade, hot knife, and it cuts pretty well. So hope you like this content. If you want to see additional content like this, please like and subscribe. I've got other vehicles I'm kind of working on and doing things from time to time, and I try to upload whenever I think something might be kind of interesting. So till next time, have a great one.